Yo, good morning, my patrons. So today we're going to continue with our study of the book Outwitting the Devil. I want to first, as always, thank you for being patrons here with Coach Renz. And please invite others to become patrons as we go through this study, and we'll go through many other studies. I do want to let you guys know that we will begin to add meditation videos, guided meditation that will just be for my patrons, and as well as we will do videos on financial wealth and wealth building. Those sorts of videos are on the way, and more personal development videos just for my patrons. So invite others to become patrons so that they don't miss out on this information and this training that we're going to be going through over the course of time itself. So let us get started with chapter 7 of Outwitting the Devil. This book, this chapter is Seeds of Fear. As you know, we've been through the aspects of what sets up your hermetic rhythm and what is hermetic rhythm. Hypnotic rhythm, sorry. Hypnotic rhythm. You know, we love our hermetics. And if you haven't watched the videos on hermetics, please go back. Shameless plug there. All right, so Napoleon Hill starts out by asking, I have often wondered why your opposition, what we earthbound call God, does not annihilate you. Can you tell me why? The devil responds by saying that because the power is as much mine as it is his. It is as available to me as it is to him. It says that the highest power in the universe can be used for constructive purposes through what you call God, or it can be used for negative purposes through what you call the devil. And something more important still, it can be used by any human being just as effectively as by God or the devil. Further illustrating that the power of good and evil, the power of God and the devil, is more of a divinity within you, that your mental state, if you go back to our laws of mentalism according to the Hermetics, that your mental state and your thoughts determine how constructive your use of manifesting good and evil in your life, of where you end up on the pole. So how you vibrate and how you think determines whether or not something is constructive use or it is destructive use. So it is just as much your power as it is anything that anyone would ever call a divinity, good or evil, God or the devil. He asked the devil to prove his claim. He said that yes, but it's better if you prove it for yourself. Meaning that I can tell you right now, I can tell you guys how to manifest $1 million, but it is better for you to manifest that $1 million yourself. I can tell you how to have great relationships, but it's better for you to go through the action and have the experience of having a great relationship, of creating a great relationship for yourself. The devil says that you fear the devil and refuse to trust your God. Therefore, you have but one source available through which you may appropriate the benefits of universal power, and that is by trusting and using your own power of thought. And I want you to think about that. Regardless of what your religion is, regardless of what religion you used to be or you are now, how you think, perceive, spirituality, all of it. The mere fact is this: when you were in a religion or in a religion, you don't trust the book. You don't trust God. You don't trust what you call God to do what you say God is going to do. But you fear the devil is always nipping at your heels, taking away things and doing things against you, causing destruction in your life. But if you really look at the truth of it, you create your own destruction by your own choices. But in the same way of your choices, you create your own heaven as well. You create those things that have benefited you. Everything that has benefited you has a cause and effect. And most of those cause and effects started with your actions, started with your thoughts. So when you truly are honest to look at what your life condition is right now, it is purely based on what you created, based on your thoughts, that became manifested into your actions, that became manifested into the material world. So the proof of his claim that you can be just as effective as using this power as God or the devil, that your thoughts, is right there in your own experiences. He asks, why have we earthbound not found the road to infinite intelligence sooner? He said that I have made it attractive to you to use the power of infinite intelligence to attain negative ends through greed, avarice, lust, envy, and hatred. Remember, your mind attracts what your mind dwells upon. To divert you away from my opposition, I had only feed you on thoughts helpful to my cause. It has been within you from the time you were a baby. If you think about it, children, babies, they are not yet inundated with fear, will strive to do whatever they set their mind to. nothing seems impossible for them, that they can manifest anything in life. You're born with the ability of thought that everything is possible on every level and condition. You didn't worry about nothing. You didn't live in fear of anything. But as you got older, it was given to you to be in fear. So then the devil wins. The negative portions of your brain begins to take over, and now you live in fear of everything, and you're not able to achieve and get to infinite source to manifest in life what you truly desire. He says that if I understand what you're saying, you are admitting that no human being needs to fear the devil nor worry about how to flatter God, right? And that is true. The devil agrees to that and said that although it may hurt him, it also sends people directly to source energy and skips the idea of the of a God that looms over you to do your bidding, to do what you pray for, ask for, beg for. Instead, you go directly to source and realize that you do these things for yourself. So there is no worry to fear the devil, and there is no need to flatter God. If you actually conceive an infinite being that is based on what your book says, that infinite being could not be a jealous being, could not be an angry being, could not be a being that requires or needs your sacrifice, nor does it require or need your praises. If a God, a supreme being, needed your praises and needed your sacrifice and needed your love, then it would then be lacking in something. And if it is lacking in anything, then it cannot be omnipotent. It cannot be God. It doesn't fit. Go back to the law of mentalism, the all in all, and you will understand that more deeply. All right. So Napoleon Hill asks, then you wish to kick over the entire apple cart and show people how to go directly to God? And he asked him, are you in politics? And he said, of course he's in politics. Who starts wars and who make allies and enemies of people? Politics is the greatest way in order to continue to push people into the negative, to keep you in fear, right? And he says, why don't you take over the churches? And the devil said, why would I take over the churches? He said, who would keep alive the fear of the devil if it wasn't for the church? If the church didn't tell you that, if the mosque didn't tell you that, if the synagogue didn't tell you that, then you would never know that there's a fear of a Hades, a hell to go to, a Sheol to go to, right? He says that the cleverest thing I do is to use the allies of my opposition to keep you in fear of hell, keep you in fear of hell burning in your, keep the fear of hell burning in your mind. And that's exactly what we have been programmed to believe by most religions. And the deprogramming of that is very intense and difficult for a lot of people to get through. The idea that we may say it with our mouth, but to truly believe that there is no hell other than the one you create for yourself is very difficult for people to truly comprehend. I think you will spend years and years and years working on your mental state to recognize that after this life there is no hell unless you create it for yourself. Unless you believe that that's a possibility, then yeah, it's real. But I do not believe it's a possibility, so therefore it is not real. So he says that he's beginning to see a scheme. You use the churches to plant the seed of fear and uncertainty and indefiniteness in the minds of people. He says that hypnotic rhythm then is something to be watched and respected. And the devil says yes. A better way of stating the truth is that hypnotic rhythm is something to be studied, understood, and voluntarily applied to attain a definite desired end. Right? So it is not something to avoid. The habit of bad habits are created, but bad habits can become the same way you create a bad habit is the same way you create a good habit. And in doing so, by creating that good habit, then what you'll be able to do is to manifest in life what you truly desire to have in your life, right? And he says that yes, for this reason that it operates automatically. That basically, if you don't purposely use hypnotic rhythm to make your life better and manifest, then hypnotic rhythm will work no matter what, because whatever you repeatedly do will become your life. He said children are forced to take on the nature and the influences of all those around them unless their own thoughts are stronger than their influences. Because if you don't decide for yourself, then life will decide it for you. The people around you, the environment around you, all these things will decide it for you. And then once they've made that decision, then that's the rhythm that you will flow in. And if it's wealth, then it'll be wealth. If it's poverty, it'll be poverty. If it's health, it'll be health. If it's sickness, it'll be sickness. Whatever it is what it will be based on what you have grown up in, unless you decide to change it. But he says that man alone has the power to establish his own rhythm and thoughts, providing he exercises his privilege before hypnotic rhythm is forced upon him the influences of his environment. So you have the ability to do it, or otherwise your environment will take over for you. All right. And he asked this question, does everybody have their own hypnotic rhythm and thought? I have to adjust a little bit there. And he said this explains why both the success and failures are results of habits. Habits establish one's rhythm of thought, and the rhythm attracts other objects of that dominating thought. So you are what you think. You attract who you are. You attract what you think. You attract what you do. You know, the more you do something, the more you attract that same thing, right? And Napoleon Hill gets into like how it resembles a magnet of affinity, and things keep coming to you. And one of the questions that Napoleon Hill wrote was very interesting. He said that if I know what I want from life, demand it, and back my demands by willingness to pay life prices for what I want, and refuse to accept any substitute, the law of hypnotic rhythm takes over my desires and helps by natural and logical means to transmute it into its physical counterpart. And that is exactly how the law works. Your thoughts, your action will manifest in the physical realm what it is that you desire, what it is that you surround yourself with, what it is that you bring into your life. The more you bring it in, the better you'll be. The more you work on the positive and think on the positive, the more positive you'll have in your life. The more love you show, the more love you get. All right. But you have to be mindful of those who come and try to establish their fear into your life and take those things away. And he asked, what of heredity and environment? He says that heredity and environment are things that come over with you at birth, are things that can influence who you become and what you have in your life. But those things can be overcome if you force it through your own mental change, your own mental control, your own thoughts, your own desires to have in your life what it is you choose to have. If you allow for it to not be so, then your environment will determine what you have in life and who you are. And and hypnotic rhythm will force you to become just that thing. Now, the last part that he talked about, he said that, do you mean that there is a definite method by which hypnotic rhythm can be made to serve instead of destroy one? He said, I mean just that. And he wants to know, Napoleon Hill now wants to know, how can we obtain that? And he said that there are 7 principles of psychology which must be understood and applied by all who use hypnotic rhythm to aid them in forcing life to yield that which they want. And the next chapters goes into those 7 philosophies, 7 ideas of what it's going to take in order for you to change your rhythm that you're in now and to form a new hypnotic rhythm so that you can have in life and manifest in life what it is that you want. Now we're getting ready to get into the meat of this book, of the things you need to begin to work on in order to change the rhythm that you have. See, right now the entire portion has been about you identifying what it is your hypnotic rhythm is. So right now, before we get into the next part, I want you to start thinking about what your thoughts are. What are your, I did a video, I recently posted a video talking about limiting beliefs. What are your limiting beliefs? What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about this world? What do you believe about your circumstances and your ability to change them? I want you to start writing those down so that you can have an understanding of where you are mentally right now. Because without knowing your mental state, we won't be able to move forward. So get deep into your mental state, write those things down, and as we go forward, you'll be able to evaluate how much is it costing me to maintain this mental state, and what is actually true about this thought process, and what can I do to make it different? How can I change my hypnotic rhythm? And remember, we have to do it 300 times to change it. So we're going to continue with the next video, start talking about definiteness of purpose, and we'll go from there and go through all 7 things that need to work in your life in order to change your hypnotic rhythm and change your environment, change your life. So remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable.